Hi, I'm Matt Dicken, and this is Strategic Wealth. Here's what's coming up on today's show. Should I pay off my mortgage or just continue to make payments on it?
I have a small amount of money in my 401. Should I change it over to an IRA or not?
Another great question I ask them is, are they a true advisor?
That's just a little bit of what you're going to see right now. Welcome again to this week's show. We have an action-packed 30 minutes that we're going to be covering with you this week. We're going to be going over your favorite segments. First of all, it's going to be X's and O's with me, Coach Matt. We have a very useful tip to cover with you, and we're going to be taking a look at a previous radio show that we did a few months ago that filled our email boxes with your questions. But first, we're going to get to this week's Money Minute. All right, this week I wanted to profile my new book, Retirement Planning in a New Direction, A Return to Common Sense. Should I pay off my mortgage or just continue to make payments on it? This week I want to talk a little bit about credit and things that you can maybe do to help your kids and possibly your grandkids build credit. Now let's move on to this week's tip. This week I want to discuss once again the fact that I believe if you're not at your previous employer, your money shouldn't be there either. This week I wanted to talk a little bit about what's your most valuable asset. In this week's tip, I want to go back and talk a little bit about taxes again. You know, earlier I talked about the fact that if you can, you want to try and take every available opportunity to grow your money tax-free. And once again, it's time for what's quickly becoming our most popular segment here on Strategic Wealth, and that's our Man on the Street segment, where we go out around town, you have an opportunity to ask me questions, and I have the opportunity to answer them for you. So let's go ahead and get that started.
What's the best way to go about preserving my wealth?
Would you recommend rolling that over into like a personal IRA or leaving it with the company, the company that you already have?
What would the future look like 15 years from now?
And who got the bigger bit of interest, him or me?
Stick around because after the break in our X's and O's segment, I'm going to cover yet another topic from the book.
You're watching Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken. It's Smart Money Television. You're watching Strategic Wealth with Matt Dicken. It's Smart Money Television.
Okay, what I wanted to talk a little bit about this week are the three different investment worlds. You know, there's really three different entities that are competing for your dollar because I want to compare the differences between mutual funds and exchange-traded funds. It's so important to get consistent returns with your investment vehicles. It's time once again for our Facebook poll. And while you're answering our Facebook poll question, don't forget, if you haven't already, be sure to join our social media community. You can find us on both Facebook and Twitter. If you join us, then you'll be sent articles of information that you can use for your retirement planning, as well as interesting information about the economy and updates on things happening in the office. At what age do you think you will retire?
Well, I used to think I could retire around 60, 65.
I'd like to retire at 65, but in today's economy, I just don't think that's going to happen.
Well, what age do I hope to retire? What age do I want to retire?
Now, next up, we're going to take a look at a previous radio show where we discussed the Rule of 100.
You know, Matt, one of the most fun shows we do every year is the retirement checklist. We never have a show that goes by where we don't talk about a very specific report that you do in your office.
This is a role that I think if investors had followed it over the last 5 to 10 years, they probably wouldn't have done as bad with their portfolios as they may have potentially done. Now, the next thing you should do is demand proof of what they're telling you. If they say that they're a retirement expert, look for proof.
There are a myriad of questions that we get from our listeners mailed into us all the time, but a lot of people are looking for simplicity.
You could maybe draw 60, 70, or 80,000 out of the account each and every year.
And now it's time for our Ask Matt Dicken segment. If you have a question, we're here to provide you answers. So let's get started. Mark, what do you have for me?
Matt, our first question today is from David in Prospect. Our next question is from Larry McCrum in Louisville, Cheryl in Louisville, and I suggest you grab a pen for this one.
Well, thanks, Mark. Those were some really good questions once again. I really enjoy answering the questions here on the show. Well, that's our show for this week. Thank you once again for watching. And don't forget, retirement planning is a journey, not a destination. We'll see you next time.